Have you ever felt lost searching for joy and healing? Well, what if I told you that the answer lies in your connection with your ancestors? My name is Asha Wilkerson, and I am a passionate guide helping people connect to their intuitive wisdom and ancestral connection. In today's video, you'll discover practical methods to connect with your ancestors and how this can bring joy and healing into your life, just like I've done with my clients many, many times before. Now, be sure to check out the link in the description so you can get access to my free 5-day challenge for ancestral connection and joy activation. Okay, so here we go. So let's talk about one of the first ways that you can connect with your ancestors, and that's through using meditation. Every morning, I start my day by sitting with my little insight timer. I have it set for 12 minutes so I can sit and connect with my ancestors through meditation. Now, in the beginning, it was really hard to sit for 12 minutes. And if I'm being honest right now, it's also kind of hard to sit for 12 minutes because as soon as I connect and quiet my brain, I start getting hits like this and like that. It comes through in instructions about how to do something. Sometimes it comes up as a thought or an idea, but it's the act in meditation of sitting and creating space to listen that allows you to connect with your ancestors. When I lead my clients through meditations, I ask them to invite their ancestors into the session, and they always get some kind of connection, information, some kind of new understanding. Now, here's the thing. You're probably asking yourself, how do I know that it's from my ancestors and not from something else and not my imagination? What I have always been told, and what I think is really true, is to just go with it. You will soon enough learn where these messages are coming from. But also, there's a separation between you and your ancestors, but there's also not that much of a separation between you and your ancestors. So if a thought or an idea is popping into your head, if you remember something that your grandmother told you or something that your uncle told you before he passed away, that is most likely a message from your ancestors, but you're using your brain and your memory to recall it and bring it up. So even though it's a little different, it's also very similar and very much the same. So don't overthink it. So again, step one is to sit in meditation and to see what comes up. More often than not, they will be messages from your ancestors and your intuitive guides. The second way you can connect to your ancestors is through journaling. I already told you that every morning I sit with my timer and I close my eyes and I get quiet and I start to hear messages. And then I open up my journal and start to write down what I hear or what occurs to me. Sometimes when I'm not able to sit still, I'll just grab my journal and start writing. And I just do a free write. I don't respond to a prompt. I just write whatever's on my mind, and connections will start to occur and ideas will start to appear. Thoughts will start to connect. And because I'm intending to connect with the wisdom of my ancestors, I know that that's coming from them. I know that that's coming from spirit and not just for me because of my intention. I'm asking for the messages, and when they come through, I don't question them. I just write them down. Now, sometimes things won't make sense, and that's okay. Sometimes they'll make sense 2 or 3 days later or a couple weeks later. You can also journal about any dreams that you've had. I love to make a request and I say, please show me a sign, or I want an answer to this. I'll go to sleep, go on about my day. I'll usually forget about what I've asked them, and then a sign appears, and I love to write that down in my journal. What does that do? One, it helps me to process what I've experienced. And two, it also helps me to remember what I've experienced. So then I can flip back through the earlier pages and see, oh yeah, I did get this sign. Or, oh yes, this is the question that I asked. I think this is the answer. So journaling is really helpful just to keep track of what's going on. Here's another way that I've used journaling in the past. And this is part like psychology therapy methods and part just intuitive connection and ancestral wisdom. Sometimes when I am feeling some kind of way about something, I will write down, let's say I'll do it for being scared. I'm scared about whatever it is. And then I respond to myself. I play both sides in my journal. So I'm writing, I'm scared about opening a new business in Lisbon. Then I respond, okay, well, why are you scared? Well, I'm scared because it feels like a really big venture. I feel some pressure about it. What if it doesn't work? And I just go back and forth answering myself. And oftentimes, what comes through is that wisdom from my ancestors, the wisdom from people who have done it before, the wisdom from the people who love me the most, that give me the encouragement to do it. And it's helpful to go through that process of writing with your hands if you're capable, because it helps you to process it and to bring the thoughts out of your head and into a physical form that you can then look back on later. So journaling is an excellent practice for ancestral connection. So I'm curious, what does ancestral connection mean to you, and how are you looking for that connection? Please drop a comment below and I'll get right back to you. All right, now the third way to connect with your ancestors is through rituals and honoring. Now, there are many cultures throughout the world that have a Day of the Dead, a Dia de los Muertos, or I forget what it's called in Haiti. I have witnessed that in Haiti, and it's an incredible experience. But honoring the dead is a big part of ancestral connection, and that can look like anything from something very, very small to something very, very big. I would say start with where you're comfortable. So for example, in one of my rooms, I have an altar that honors my ancestors. And I have a picture of my healthy, healed grandparents. I do not have a picture of the grandparents that were a little bit toxic and we didn't have a great relationship and they still had a lot of healing to do before they transitioned. I just have a picture of my loving grandparents where I feel like I got a lot of love from them. And then I put other things on my altar that would be honoring. So I have perfume because who doesn't like to smell good? I have candles because I love lighting candles and putting my intention into a candle. I put some jewelry on the altar because I want it to look pretty and I want them to know that I'm thinking about them when I'm putting my jewelry on. I actually love that when I get ready to go out, I come to the altar and I put I have some roller perfume, and then I also grab some jewelry to put on, and it just makes me stop and pause for a moment to say thank you, to say hello, to ask how it's going. But as I'm putting those things on, I have intentionally placed them there to connect with my ancestors before I go and leave the house. I also have a plant. I write down my intentions and my prayers and I put them on that altar. Your altar and your ritual can be made up of whatever it is that you want. The goal is for you to connect. So don't get caught up in what it needs to look like and what so-and-so's process is. Whatever you can use to connect for yourself, whether it's drinking your cup of coffee in silence to connect or creating a whole altar, the ritual and the honoring will certainly help you connect to your ancestors. And it brings to you a feeling of closeness. And most importantly, the reason why it doesn't matter what anybody else does is because this is for you. This is your connection. So whatever you need to do to honor and to connect through ritual, I encourage you to do it. It will definitely change your life and it'll make it feel so much more accessible. The last suggestion that I have for connecting with your ancestors is to join a community. Now, when I first started connecting, nobody in my family was talking about connecting. It took me joining a class and joining a group to really understand and to get comfortable talking about honoring and connecting with my ancestors. And then when I started talking about it, my mom told me, "Oh yeah, I speak to the ancestors all the time." I'm like, "What? You never even told me." So sometimes in our families, we might not know when people are connecting and honoring, and that's okay. So it's really important to find your own community where you can ask questions, where you can get ideas, where you can share your experiences, where you can have support. It's not always easy because we haven't been trained or raised in a culture, particularly in the United States, that honors and reveres and encourages that kind of connection. But when you are in community with people who are moving in the same direction as you, it will completely change how you relate to the direction that you're going. Because now you understand that you're not alone and you have a group of people to support you. So join a community. So if you're ready to connect with your ancestors and to tap into the joy and wisdom that your ancestors have for you, then go to my link in the description and download the Joy Activation Challenge, which will walk you through using meditation and journal prompts, connecting to your ancestors so you can tap into joy. There is so much joy and happiness and just goodwill that's available to you, but we have to actually look for it and orient ourselves so that we know when it's coming towards us. So join the 5-day challenge. You will be transformed. It's totally free, and I hope to see you inside. And one last thing, if you want to hear about how ancestral connection has really transformed and changed my life, take a look at this podcast episode that I recorded a couple months ago. It will totally explain the transformation that I went through, and it'll encourage you on your journey as well. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay connected and continue to get more insights on your journey. I'll see you in the next one where we will explore the messages that your ancestors have just for you.